Diddy's trying to kill me. You know, Diddy and Jay-Z, Auntie Sean and Auntie Yolanda. No matter how many contracts you try to take out on my life, no matter how many times you try to threaten my family or threaten people to stay away from me, no matter how many things you try to do to me and how many things you've tried to do to me, it ain't working. Don't play with somebody that you know got the drop on you.
An example of one such individual who went through those sorts of attacks is the actor Orlando Brown. He was on Disney, and I remember everyone telling us that he was totally insane and deranged when he was saying a lot of things that at the time sounded crazy, particularly about Diddy. Take a listen.
The requirement is you gotta say no to Diddy. If it's new booty in the building, you know he gonna get it.
Don't take your girlfriend to a Diddy party.
You can take the but he won't you.
Diddy, to me, is the fall guy. We are still seeing a major effort to protect the big names, just like with Jeffrey Epstein.
Diddy, you know Diddy?
Diddy,
one of my best friends.
Okay.
Right? Okay. When you wanna be a Kappa, you wanna be Kappa, you wanna be Alpha, whatever the it is, okay? We're gonna haze you and haze you and haze you until you are a Kappa. That's what happened. People sold their souls to Diddy. And then they're mad now because the hazing process was a little bit rougher than they thought. Nigga, you can't de-king a king. Why do you think I love Diddy so much? You're not gonna dethrone this man because he know how to get you there. By way of hazing you, I call it haze. And we're gonna still do this. We're gonna still do this. It's not gonna stop. Take that. It's still gonna happen. The bitch got 3 million and we're still waking up in the morning, drinking cognac, screaming, bad boy, bad boy.
Diddy's lawyers had argued that he had made good faith efforts by showing up in New York, ready to surrender to face these charges, but prosecutors said that he could not be trusted, that he has a history of trying to intimidate witnesses, including some who are going to be witnesses in this case. They urge the judge to remand him.
At trial, Combs will ditch the jail garb and wear ordinary clothes. As his lawyers argue, the evidence shows consenting adults being intimate in their own way.
Now, as far as jury selection goes, I think the biggest takeaway for me is that both sides expect to have all of this done in the matter of 3 days. Now, given just how high profile this trial is, I was kind of stunned that they seem very confident that they will be able to seat a jury in that amount of time.
What made you come here to support Puff?
I'm supporting Puff because he's innocent, and I'm wholeheartedly believing his innocence, and I know he's innocent. So
you think you know he's innocent?
1,000%.
Would you be open to a plea bargain?
Well, it's not up to me. It's up to Mr. Combs, and I don't see it happening.
Why?
Because he believes he's innocent. He believes he's innocent, and what's more, he believes that he needs to stand up, not just for himself, for his family, and for everybody who's been targeted by the federal government.
He knows the deck is stacked against him. They've got a ton of evidence. Take the plea deal, dude. Just take it.
Well, my guess is that, because we don't know the deal of the plea deal. At least I don't think we do.
True.
Okay.
She did, and when the judge did, Diddy, who was sitting at the defense table with his attorneys, did not show any signs of emotion. He took a sip of water before he was led out of the courtroom by the U.S. Marshals. Now, his lawyers have vowed to fight this. They are going to be back in court on Wednesday before the judge who will oversee this trial and try to get Diddy to be released.
Do you still think that, because there is this public perception, that there are celebrity tapes involved in this case?
No.
Do you still think that there are minors involved in this case?
I'm certain no.
Okay.
And again, when you say this case, we're talking the criminal case.
The criminal case.
In the
correct.
criminal,
I know that.
In the criminal case,
in the
criminal case,
right.
no.
Back up a little bit, please.
How can you support your father? How do you support him moving forward?
This is going to be such a massive trial, like maybe the biggest Hollywood trial. God knows which way it's going to go. Are they going to, is it going to go on for weeks? And
for sure, weeks.
What happens is if people go into a trial believing the firepower on the prosecution is so strong. I mean, let's say on a scale of 1 to 100, it's a 95 that it's so strong, but it goes down to an 88. That helps the defense because everybody goes in thinking, wow, they're going to prove this, and they're going to prove this, and they're going to prove this, and all of a sudden, none of it's there. I think that actually helps the defense.
The last hearing before Sean Combs' trial starts, when he walked into federal court today, he appeared to be looking for his family. They've pretty much been at all of the hearings that I've been to, but there was no presence of his sons or his mother or his sister who had previously been at those hearings.
Well, Bill and Sade, accepting a plea agreement would mean that Sean Combs would have to admit to trafficking and forced. And today he made it very clear that was not going to happen. Diddy maintained all along these encounters involved consenting adults and plans to take his chances that a jury agrees.
Music mogul Sean Diddy Combs back behind bars, a magistrate judge denying him bail, saying that there were no conditions that she could conceive of that would make her confident that he would appear again for other court appearances. The judge saying, my concern is this is a crime that happens behind closed doors.
The decision guarantees Combs will face trial beginning just 4 days from now that will test whether one of music's most prolific figures used his power, wealth, and fame to exploit both women and men for decades.
Major developments tonight involving the case against Sean Diddy Combs, what he decided in court today, and what this now means, the move coming just 4 days before his trial is set to begin. Here's Aaron Katursky.
Tonight, Sean Combs makes it official. He's rejecting the government's offer to plead guilty and spare himself the possibility of a prolonged term in prison. When asked if he turned down the offer, Combs answered, "Yes, I do, Your Honor," as he stood in a baggy beige jail uniform. Terms were not disclosed, but prosecutors did say a plea could result in a shorter sentence for Combs than if he's convicted.
We have the latest from federal court in the Sean Combs criminal case. Status of jury selection, what Diddy's going to be wearing, violation of a gag order, rejecting a plea offer.
Elaborate, sometimes days-long parties by coercing victims through drugs, threats, and manipulation. They claim to have video evidence, and some of the accusations echo details from over 70 civil lawsuits filed against Combs over the last 30 years.
Isn't that, to my mind, that's one of the bigger hurdles in selecting a jury this coming week, is that there is, at least anecdotally, when I talk to people, they have that opinion, strongly held opinion, that there's celebrity tapes, that they've kind of conflated Epstein, and you mentioned Ghislaine Maxwell and all of these things into Diddy. There's this idea that somehow this is Epstein redux or something.
Federal trafficking, racketeering, and charges beginning Monday morning.
Mr. Combs feels A, he's innocent, which is why he's not going to plead guilty. B, he's going to be truthful about this case because he wants to portray that to the people who have loved him his whole life. And I think he also feels an obligation to people in general. Maybe it's black people, maybe it's white people, maybe it's anybody who's ever felt aggrieved and targeted by the government. He feels an obligation to those people to say, you know what, maybe I can break the model. Maybe I can show the world that a black man can win, in federal court. And I think he probably is the only person I know of who might be able to actually accomplish that.
Hey there, my fabulous drama detectives. It's your girl Holly coming at you with the most scalding tea in Hollywood right now. Woo! My God, babes, you are not ready for what I'm about to spill today. The music mogul, the bad boy himself, Sean Diddy Combs, is facing absolute catastrophe after Orlando Brown, yes, that Orlando Brown from Disney, has just been subpoenaed to testify against him. This is not a drill, lubbies. We're talking secret recordings, hidden phones, and something called heartbeat resets that could absolutely demolish Diddy's defense. The man who built an empire might watch it crumble because of voice memos from a former child star who everyone dismissed as crazy for years. Buckle up, because mama's got the dirt that's making the entire industry quake. If you thought the Epstein case was wild, honey, you better slam that subscribe button right now because this tea is about to overflow. So what exactly triggered this nuclear bomb in Hollywood? For years, Orlando Brown has been making wild claims about Diddy and the industry. Remember those viral moments where everyone was like, poor Orlando is unhinged? Those rambling interviews where he talked about hazing in the industry and kept saying, take that, mimicking Diddy's signature catchphrase? Huh, turns out maybe, just maybe, Orlando wasn't as delusional as everyone thought. The feds have now formally accepted Brown as a prosecution witness against Diddy in his trafficking and racketeering case. And babes, they didn't just take his word for it, they've got receptus, actual voice recordings that Brown secretly made during 3 separate weekend visits to Diddy's property. So let me ask you this. Was Orlando Brown actually trying to warn us all along? Or is this just an opportunistic move from someone with their own legal troubles? Drop your thoughts in the comments because this story is developing faster than a Polaroid picture. The absolute core of this bombshell is that Orlando Brown apparently smuggled in a secondary phone, kept in airplane mode, to record observations at Diddy's estate. According to court filings, Brown captured staff radio chatter using the phrase heartbeat reset, which prosecutors claim was code for guest wing door cycles and temporary camera dimming. I'm sorry, what? The stakes here are astronomical, lovies. These recordings could be the smoking gun that connects all the digital evidence the feds already have. Those router logs showing door sensor activity, lighting changes, and staff movements all synchronized to the exact second with Brown's voice memos. Diddy's legal team is fighting tooth and nail, claiming these recordings are just being misinterpreted and that Brown is only cooperating for leniency in his own Nevada firearms case. But honey, when your Wi-Fi router shows someone's phone connecting at exactly 1:00 a.m. in the North Wing, second corridor, just as they whisper those words on a recording, the mouse's claws are out and they're not playing game. Let's rewind a bit and set the stage for how we got here. Once upon a time in the kingdom of hip-hop, Sean Combs built the bad boy empire from the ground up. The parties, the lifestyle, the clothing line, the vodka. Diddy wasn't just successful, he was a cultural phenomenon who shaped an entire generation of music and fashion. Meanwhile, in the land of Disney, young Orlando Brown was becoming a household name on shows like That's So Raven. 2 completely different worlds that seemingly had no connection, until they apparently did. For years, Brown has made headlines not for his acting, but for his erratic behavior and wild claims about industry power players, particularly DDC. Brown's public spiral included interviews where he talked about industry hazing and implied dark rituals and activities in the entertainment world. When you want to be a Kappa, we're going to haze you and haze you and haze you, he said in one viral clip, drawing parallels between fraternity hazing and the music industry. Most people wrote him off as troubled or attention-seeking. You know, this actually reminds me of when I was at a club in LA back in 2019, and I overheard these 2 security guys talking about cleanup protocols at celebrity parties. They clammed up real quick when they realized I was listening, but I digress. What's critical to understand is that Brown has had his own legal troubles, including a firearms case in Nevada. So when the feds came knocking with their investigation into Diddy, Brown apparently saw an opportunity, not just for potential leniency, but perhaps for vindication after years of being dismissed as crazy. According to the cooperation agreement, Brown is eligible for sentencing consideration in his Nevada case if, and this is a big if, lovies, his testimony is deemed complete and truthful. There's a clause that voids any leniency if he offers false information, which prosecutors say ensures his reliability, while the defense argues it just proves he's motivated by self-interest. So now let's get into the nitty-gritty of what these recordings allegedly captured, because honey, it is wild. According to court documents, Brown recorded 3 separate voice memos during visits to Diddy's properties. In the first memo, timestamped at 1:00 a.m., he whispers his location as North Wing, second corridor, followed by radio chatter that included the phrase heartbeat reset. When prosecutors played this in court, they simultaneously displayed network router logs showing Brown's phone briefly connecting at that exact time to an access point named guest_app in2. Coincidence? The defense tried to argue it was just his phone automatically syncing, but Special Agent Lynn Rivas testified that the phone had no SIM card or stored Wi-Fi credentials, suggesting Brown deliberately activated it. But wait, it gets juicier. The second voice memo, timestamped around 3:00 a.m., has Brown noting that corridor lights changed to a dim red pulse he described as a running heartbeat, while staff escorted small groups through mirrored doors. Meanwhile, prosecutors had procurement records showing rush orders for guest refreshed linens with a handwritten note saying, "Use heartbeat cart." The defense is desperately trying to explain all this away, claiming heartbeat is just an innocent term for premium lighting ambiance and that the supply orders were routine for high-profile events. But babes, when you've got building automation logs showing manual overrides dimming guest wing fixtures for exactly 6 minutes each time, perfectly aligned with Brown's recordings, someone's got some explaining to do. The courtroom was reportedly stunned silent when prosecutors played a voicemail left on Brown's secret phone from someone identified as a Combs staff coordinator, inviting him back for another weekend and saying, "We'll have the heartbeat upgraded and ready." Like, could you be any more cryptic? The fallout from these revelations has been absolutely catastrophic for Diddy's carefully crafted image. The man who built a billion-dollar empire on being the ultimate host, the life of the party, the center of every celebration, is now seeing that same party lifestyle weaponized against him in federal court. Social media is absolutely ablaze with reactions. Diddy New is trending daily, and former fans are combing through decades of footage, interviews, and lyrics looking for clues they might have missed. Old clips of celebrities seeming uncomfortable at his famous white parties are being re-examined with fresh eyes. The most deafening sound, though, is the silence from Diddy's celebrity friends. Not a single A-lister has publicly stood by him since Brown's testimony was announced. The few who initially showed support at early hearings have vanished faster than Cinderella at midnight. His former inner circle is maintaining radio silence. Suspicious, right? Meanwhile, Brown's credibility has undergone a complete reassessment. People who dismissed him as troubled are now wondering if he was actually brave. Comments like, "We owe Orlando Brown an apology," are flooding social media, though others remain skeptical, pointing to his history of inconsistent statements. Industry insiders I've spoken with say the damage is irreparable, regardless of the verdict. Even if Diddy's acquitted, the detailed nature of these allegations and the specific technical evidence makes it impossible to just brush this off as a misunderstanding, one publicist told me off the record. The phrase "heartbeat reset" will follow him forever. The question everyone's asking now is, what happens to the bad boy legacy? This isn't just about one man's future. It's about decades of music history, countless artists who built careers under his label, and a cultural impact that can't be erased. Streaming numbers for bad boy artists have been wildly unpredictable since this news broke. Some report listeners boycotting the catalog entirely, while others note a morbid curiosity driving up plays. Platforms are quietly debating whether to remove his music from major playlists. Not making any moves yet, but industry sources say contingency plans are already in place. The ripple effects extend beyond music. His vodka brand has seen major retailers pulling stock from prime shelf positions. His clothing line is facing cancellations from distributors who don't want the association. Even charities he's donated to are quietly redirecting funds or removing his name from buildings. For fans, this creates an impossible moral dilemma. How do you reconcile decades of loving someone's art when the artist is accused of something so disturbing? Can you separate the art from the artist? Should you? One fan on Twitter summed it up painfully. "Diddy's music was the soundtrack to the best moments of my life, and now I don't know if I can ever listen to it again." The most fascinating aspect is how this affects the perception of other industry figures who've faced allegations. Is this the beginning of a new wave of accountability, or will the industry circle the wagons to protect its own? Sound off in the comments, babes. Are you still streaming Bad Boy records, or have you hit pause? Hollywood and the music industry are reacting to this case with unprecedented speed. 3 major talent agencies have already circulated revised event safety riders that require transparent device policies, real-time guest exit options, and independent liaisons at private gatherings. Translation: no more taking phones at the door, guests must be able to leave whenever they want, and there needs to be someone present who isn't on the host's payroll. Insurance companies for celebrity events are completely overhauling their underwriting practices. New questionnaires focus specifically on door lock override logs, corridor lighting systems, and record retention policies for staff communications. One entertainment lawyer told me the Diddy clause is now standard in every high-profile event contract. The legislative impact is potentially even bigger. Brown's name has been added to the witness roster for upcoming hearings on a proposed Creative Industry Guest Safety Act, which would fund confidential reporting lines and establish minimum training standards for event security. Lawmakers are suddenly very interested in what happens behind those velvet ropes. What's absolutely wild is how many celebrities are now privately auditing their own properties and staff protocols. Everyone with a guest house is upgrading security systems with transparent logs that can't be overridden without documentation, one security consultant revealed. They're terrified of being the next Diddy. The biggest question hanging over the industry is who else might Orlando Brown have information about? If he was recording at Diddy's properties, did he do the same elsewhere? The paranoia is real, lovies. Industry fixers are working overtime, and I've heard whispers of massive payments being offered for NDAs from celebrities who aren't even involved in this case, just people covering their bases. So where does this all leave us, my drama detectives? Let's recap the absolute chaos. Orlando Brown, former Disney star, once dismissed as unreliable, is now a star witness against one of music's biggest moguls. His secret recordings, along with technical evidence like router logs and lighting controls, have painted a disturbing picture of what allegedly happened at Diddy's exclusive gatherings. The phrase heartbeat reset, once meaningless industry jargon, is now at the center of a federal case that could send Diddy to prison for decades. His empire is crumbling, his friends have vanished, and the entire entertainment industry is scrambling to distance itself from similar practices. The question I'm dying to know from you is, do you believe Orlando Brown was trying to warn us all along? Was he dismissed because it was easier than facing uncomfortable truths about beloved celebrities? Or is he an opportunist capitalizing on Diddy's legal troubles to help his own case? If there's one thing this saga teaches us, it's that in Hollywood, today's conspiracy theory might be tomorrow's court evidence. The industry will never be the same after this case, regardless of the verdict. Don't forget to slam that subscribe button and hit the notification bell so you don't miss my updates as this explosive case continues. I'll be back with more scalding tea on this and all the other drama heating up Hollywood. Stay messy, babes. This is Holly, your drama detective, signing off.